is also under construction. So generally, the site progress, the percentage is around 66.5% site progress. The control tower, we have not started on it. There are some issues about the design, but soon we shall receive the design and start on it. The air-ground lighting system is also under construction.
The Minister of Energy and Mineral Development led government delegation and toured the facility as the country strives to achieve its 2025 oil production target. Building public-private sector synergies is emphasized.
We are carrying the baby, which we have to deliver alive on the delivery date, expected delivery date. No miscarriage, no stillbirth. Okay,
that can't happen.
So electricity has to come to the industrial park, to the airport.
A plan for laying a fiber optic cable on the crude oil pipeline route was mooted.
Our idea was to get a fiber optic starting from here all the way to Tanga, and we connect to CECOM, the global, the one that goes all around Africa, that provides all internet. We have one connection right now through Kenya.
That's a good idea.
We want one through Tanzania.
We have to put it on paper and then send it to where it is supposed to go.
Yeah.
Relatedly, the clearance of the ground for the construction of the Total Energies Tilenga Central Processing Facility in Bulisa District has commenced.
And some of the most important things that government looks at before clearing these contracts is national content. If a contract is $1 billion, government is interested to know how much of this is actually going into the Ugandan economy.
When complete, the CPF will process 190,000 barrels of oil from 700,000 barrels of Total liquid per day. The central processing facility is on 2,400 acres of land. From the central processing facilities, stabilized crude oil will be pumped to the refinery through a network of transmission pipelines. Dennis Sigor and Juman Samba for UBC News.
Bank of Uganda has maintained the central bank rate at 6.5%. In a recent committee meeting, it was noted that the second wave of COVID-19 and associated containment measures have interrupted economic recovery.
Despite being the lowest CBR rate to be announced, Bank of Uganda insists that the 6.5% maintenance since June this year should enable affordable lending rates by commercial banks to credit-worthy customers.
We see that, for example, the weighted average for overall shilling-dominated loans in the industry as at June was 17%. Now, out of that weighted average, obviously there are corporates that borrowed at 7%. There are corporates that borrowed at 10%, depending on which bank. And then you have the other smaller borrowers or personal loans that obviously go at a high interest rate, 19, 20%. But overall, the weighted was 17%. Now, in 2020, when we are starting with the lockdown, that was around the March, we are talking about trailing interest rate around 23%, weighted average. So moving from 23 to 17, that automatically means, yes, there has been a response, although the response has been very, very gradual.
However, the announcement comes at a time when the COVID-19 credit relief measures instated by government are planned to end with this quarter in September 2021. This could threaten businesses who are already grappling with low aggregate demand.
Inflation remains subdued simply because output or economic activity is much lower than the potential growth. You're talking about, but if you're talking about growth of 3.5 or to 4, the potential is above 6.5. So it automatically means that we have what we call a spare capacity or the negative output gap.
In other words, it was important to lift some parts of the economy despite continued community spread of the COVID-19 virus, advising that citizens should strictly abide by the standard operating procedures complemented by the country's health system.
We all know that when people are dying because of a pandemic, and you are saying let us continue opening so that we have income. At the end of the day, you will get the income and you are buried with it. So, okay, you are actually buried without eating it. So that is really the argument. So the question is, how do you really try to balance the two? Try to open a bit with SOPs, okay? But also don't open up everything so that people get infected.
The Bank of Uganda has projected economic growth to return to 6 to 7% in the financial year 2021-2025, indicating that economic activity is expected to remain below the pre-pandemic path of less than 3% for an extended time. Wadulo, Arnold, UBC News in Kampala.
Investors in Uganda have been encouraged to embrace opportunities in paper bag manufacturing to help the country get rid of plastic bag carriers. The need for Uganda to build more capacity in making alternatives to kavera is emphasized by government. Now, recently, Cabinet adopted a resolution to totally ban the use of plastic bag carriers.
At Bweyogerere Industrial Park in Wakiso District, we find crane paper bags. It is a paper bag manufacturing factory where activity and business is seen happening. Branded packs for various products are being manufactured for packaging with a promising production capacity.
And the government policies are also supporting the manufacturing. And during COVID time, government support was also good towards manufacturing.
The arrival for an official tour by State Minister for Investment, Evelyn Anite, was signal enough for the future of this factory in conserving the environment.
So our government policy of banning kavera is not going to be frustrated because we are protecting the environment. And here we have created a solution. We have a solution of, if you're not using kavera, what are you using? Now you're going to have the packaging materials, and it is manufactured right here in Kampala.
About 2 weeks ago, the Ugandan cabinet reinstituted a ban on plastic carrier bags, a move whose success will depend on increased awareness creation.
Now that government has banned the use of kaveras, there's an opportunity in packaging. So we only have about 10 factories that manufacture. So we need many more to come so that we are able to meet the demand of packaging materials in the country.
It is to make people more aware about the plastic which is spoiling the environment and agricultural sector of Uganda, and encouraging people to divert to alternative means of packaging.
Minister Anite also toured the textile and branding factories from Luzira Industrial Park. She was accompanied by officials from Uganda Investment Authority.
Even when we're industrializing, we want to industrialize in a sustainable, green way, so that we create green jobs. Because if we destroy the environment now, then the future generations are not going to have where to begin from.
So when MINEMA gives us a license to operate in whatever industrial park we have, I think that is considering the balance of the ecological system of the country. So we leave the technocrats of MINEMA to do that. We will not operate an industrial park without their clearance.
In these ventures, many youth have been trained and employed and can participate to grow Uganda's economy. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Central Bank's August monetary policy report projected Uganda's economic growth rate to fluctuate between 3.5% and 4%. However, the economic outlook is still facing various uncertainties hinged on how well the COVID-19 pandemic is managed on both a public and private level.
The Bank of Uganda has projected that economic recovery for financial year 2021-22 is hinged on how well the countrywide COVID-19 vaccination is managed should the targeted 20 million Ugandans receive the vaccines. Producers and consumers, along with enabling recovery policies, will influence a more stable economic growth trajectory.
The outlook continues to be highly conditional on the consignment of the spread of the pandemic, which will be premised on the vaccination rates and the extent to which SOPs are observed. The emergence of vaccine-resistant variants would, however, prompt the reintroduction of restrictions on gatherings and mobility, which will derail the economic recovery.
Whereas the value of private sector loan approvals rose to 2.25 trillion Ugandan shillings during the quarter to June 2021, from 2.17 trillion shillings in the quarter to March 2021. The value of loan applications dropped from 5.01 trillion shillings to 3.78 trillion shillings in the quarter to March 2021. This trend reflects low demand due to the slow pace of economic recovery. And this means that private sector could grow at a moderate pace in the near term.
Economic growth is projected to return to 6 to 7% in fiscal year 2024-2025, indicating that economic activity is expected to remain well below the pre-pandemic path for an extended time.
The current economic uncertainties continue to affect prices of goods and services, with inflation expected to be lower in the near term than in the previous forecast round.
Annual core inflation declined slightly to 2.5% from 2.7%, primarily due to a decrease in prices for services. Inflation will rise gradually through the year due to temporary effects of the pandemic containment measures, but is forecast to remain below the 5% target in the near term.
There has been a change of guard in several ministries. Dr. Irene Batebe has officially assumed office of the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. Relatedly, Ramadan Gobi has also officially assumed office of the Secretary to the Treasury. More in this report.
After serving in different ranks at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development for over 3 decades, Robert Kasande, the former Permanent Secretary, is now out of the ministry, and in comes Irene Batebe. Kasande was recently posted to the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, had served in the position of Permanent Secretary for 4 years.
I can tell you without evidence that I'm 100% sure your coming here was not through a lobby, your coming here was not through a godfather, but because you caught the eye of His Excellency the President. Or a good mother for that matter. And that doesn't happen every day. So I encourage all of us that as we supervise people, as we work with people, to give them that exposure.
Batebe ascends to the key position in the ministry at a time when the country is excited about joining the League of Oil Exporting Countries in less than 5 years, and at the very time when the energy sector has made significant strides in power generation and connectivity.
We cannot work in silos. We will continue building on what PS said, ensuring that we are leveraging from the synergies that exist in the industry. We shouldn't continue having islands. We should find a way of working coherently because ultimately our goal is the same. I have noted the different areas, outgoing PS that you highlighted, and working with the team will continue reviewing the targets for the different subsectors.
The handover exercise at the Energy House was witnessed by the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, the State Minister for Minerals, and other government officials.
We would like to leave a footprint where we are living. We leave a footprint, political footprint, social footprint, so that people will say, oh, they delivered. And it is that footprint
that determines where your next deployment will be.
Kasande and Irene Batebe had worked together in the sector for a decade. As the two begin their tour of duty at two key government ministries, collaboration is emphasized.
So we are looking for continued working relationships with you. Unfortunately, you have your colleague here. It is going to be an easy job. I wish all of you a good tour of duty. Yours is moving around. It's no longer technical when you reach a level of PS.
Dennis Igor and Juman Samba for UBC News.
With a commendable history of more than 15 years as a senior economist, university lecturer and policy analyst, Ramadan Gowi's appointment has been massively welcomed in both the public sphere and government, with confidence that he is a worthy candidate.
I would like to begin by thanking so much His Excellency the President of this Republic for entrusting me with the responsibility of leading the technical team that is going to direct economic policy of our country, first of all, to recover the economy from this pandemic and take it to the its pre-pandemic status, and then ultimately push for socio-economic transformation through mainly creation of well-paying jobs for Ugandans, also ensuring that we enhance household incomes, and most importantly, we create wealth for the people of Uganda.
And you come at a time when we are confronted with a huge problem where we have hit our debt ceiling, and but yet we still need a lot of money for the oil sector, for COVID, and so many other challenges. So you are challenged to see how we maneuver through.
Various economic policy makers at the Finance Ministry and Bank of Uganda witnessed this orientation. Patrick Ochailap, the Deputy Secretary to the Treasury and Acting Permanent Secretary, read the handover report, which listed key assignments the new Permanent Secretary's office is to take up with immediate effect.
I have separately prepared a file on actions I have been handling on your behalf, following suspension of the board and some members of management of the Uganda Airlines by HE the President. I took on the assignment on your behalf since I was holding your office, but was meant to be your predecessor and your colleague, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Works and Transport, as interim board members. I'll separately, as I said, hand over this file to you, and of course, with the functions.
One thing I want to see from you is how to help these officers to develop new ideas. New ideas. But you know, I told you last time, there is a bird which sings kuru kuku kuku kuru kuku kuku kuru. Same song in the morning, in the evening, every day. No.
Maritime transport on Lake Victoria is about to get a major boost. Now this follows the completion of rehabilitation works of MV Pamba, which had been grounded for 16 years. The roll and roll-off ship has an 880-ton capacity. Dennis Sigoa has a comprehensive report.
This was the state of marine vessel Pamba in 2019 in a dilapidated state. And this is the same vessel 2 years down the road after undergoing massive rehabilitation costing billions of shillings.
The budget is around $3.5 million.
3.5?
Yes, that's what we have invested on the rehabilitation. The major difficulties is that, you know, a ship is like a car. When it's moving, it's easier to realize the problems. But when we took over MV Pamba, it was immobilized and it was stopped. So many problems, we only realize the problems later on.
The ship, which is soon to sail on Lake Victoria, will be a major boost to marine transport in the East African region and more so to the Central Corridor, which has in the recent months been served by only one ship the MV Kawa.
We can do business cheaper by exploiting this route of the lake. This is one of the models of transport which have not been exploiting maximally, and which we should, because it reduces and it helps on a number of things. You reduce on tear and wear of the trucks, you reduce on tear and wear of the roads, you reduce on the pollution on the roads, because all those trucks on the roads, you can imagine the kind of gases and fumes they put out there. So it's a very, very beneficial route.
MV Pamba had been grounded for 16 years after it was involved in a grisly accident. The ship, which has been fitted with the latest marine transport technologies to boost efficiency and received fresh paint, is expected to benefit immensely the business community, especially bulk importers and exporters.
MV Pamba has been under rehabilitation. It is now undergoing tests, so that is another vessel on the lake. MV Pamba is the same capacity as MV Kawa. It has a capacity of 22 wagons, and it takes 18 to 20 hours across the lake from Mwanza to Port Bell or Mwanza to Jinja.
However, small-scale traders like Aimebo Mbarushimana, who imports animal feeds from Tanzania through the port of Mwanza, is making an appeal for a tariff review from Uganda Railways Corporation in order to enable him shift from the small vessels to the bigger and more efficient large ships plying the Port Bell Luzira Mwanza route.
In our corridor, the ship is cheaper for larger corporation, larger institution. There we're competing with WFP. There is also Starbucks International. So the standards they put, the tariffs for them are a bit high. And it is understandable on side of URC, Uganda Railway Corporation, because if they put the tariffs lower for Starbucks or for WFP, other members within East Africa, they will say, but you're doing protectionism, or you're doing favoritism to these people. But I've had a chance to talk to the state minister and the CFO of URC, and we're going to see that they can give us a tariff that favors us to use our local ship, Kawa and Pemba.
Now, the other ships that you referred to are smaller ships, and this the cargo is break bulk. It's lifted onto. You find that we spend more time, the client spends more time loading and offloading. And that is the area that we have to discuss with our clients. That when we are using Kawa or Pamba or Uhuru, it has to be a roll-on, roll-off facility, so that we can easily turn around the vessels. You turn around the vessels to go back to pick more cargo, and depending on the volume of cargo that you have, rail and marine would be your best bet if it's bulk cargo. Now, when it's small cargo, there is another discussion we'll have to have with the client.
The return of MV Pamba comes at a time when the Central Corridor route has in the recent months experienced a spike in imports and exports. The newly refurbished vessel has 880 tons capacity and can carry 22 wagons. Currently, Uganda Railways Corporation has a $92 per ton promotional rate for bulk cargo from the port of Dar es Salaam to Port Bell.
What we are doing, we are giving a cheaper route. Currently, across the lake, we are doing $21 to $23 per ton. This is when you have loaded the bulk cargo on the vessel. So we see that there will be a lot of trade coming from the availability of these vessels crossing the lake and giving a customer timely delivery of cargo from either country.
The Ministry of Works and Transport says it has a plan of further developing water transport. One of the key initiatives is the development of an international standard port in Bukasa, Kampala.
Port Bell is going to remain for tourism, for passenger, and for local cargo. Bukasa Port was chosen because, one, it is located in Kampala Industrial and Business Park, where all factories will be located. 2, it is going to be linked with meter gauge railway and standard gauge railway. 3, it's also going to be linked by a road network. So the space, the space is also very big because it will be on 400 hectares. So we are going to have a very big port within the next 3 years where all the international cargo will be coming. Mind you, Port Bell will be for tourism, for passenger and for local cargo. Meanwhile, we also have Jinja Port. It is also going to be handling local cargo for training in marine transport and also for ship repairs. So that's the plan which the government of Uganda has for water transport.
Mango Tree, a Chinese engineering group which is doing the repairs, says the works are almost 100% complete and expects the ship to have its maiden voyage by September this year. Dennis Igor for UBC News.
A lot of beneficiaries, authors, musicians, you'll find them in many of the member states even saying we don't have copyright laws. And yet we have the best laws that govern copyright, but there is a problem of sensitization, awareness. And as African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, we are working with our partners to ensure that we do this sensitization.
Creators and innovators are being compelled to register their works in a bid to attain copyrights. Owning a registered copyright, be it a song, smartphone application, book or trademark, to mention but a few, enables you to earn from your work every time it is used by another party, either now or in the future. So take some time and get abreast with the copyright law of Uganda. Thank you for joining us at this episode of the weekly business roundup with me, your host, Wadulo Arnold. Allow me to give a big shout out to Kampala Serena Hotel. Catch us on the next episode, same time, same place. From the team and I, we must say good night.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Uganda First.
The patriotism program in secondary schools was launched in 2009 by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and he was focusing on secondary schools to make sure that we develop a generation among the youth that is patriotic and is ready to serve and to sacrifice for their country.
Good enough, the president had a policy document. He went around, he met teachers. So when he appointed me to be in charge of the secretariat, the work was clear. Ensure you bring the teachers on board because they are the ones who ordinarily most of the time are with the young people.
As a patriot,
I joined the Patriotic Club in 2018 when I had just joined the Mighty College, Trinity College, Nabingo, and each of us that joined that year, we had to undergo that exercise. I learned a lot of things because I was also given the responsibility to lead the parade by then. As young as I was, we were with Form 1s and Form 5s, but I made an effort to take it through.
There are some core values that we cherish as a country.
Okay.
The core values, hard work, the core values of time management. Do you respect the environment?
Integrity.
Are you united as a community, or you are promoting those divisions that we don't encourage?
One of the values of patriotism is love, sacrifice, obedience, and very many things we do for our country.
Patriotism taught me to be a responsible person, someone that carries myself with integrity, with pride of who I am.
It motivates you, it teaches you to learn, to love anything surrounding you. Uganda is not just a name.
I've learned many values from it, and one of them is love, there is discipline, respect, hard work, and keeping time.
I have learned virtues of love, respect, integrity, and loving one another.
Are you clean? Do you encourage your people to remain clean?
Yes.
Are you responsible? Do you respect public property? Do you respect yourself as a human being?
Sure.
In the offices where you are, is there integrity? At your workplace, are you honest enough? All those are core values of patriotism.
The best things that I learned are, at the end of it all, when you're patriotic, you can become successful and you can prosper in life.
These virtues have helped me in my roles of leadership.
Before joining patriotism, I didn't have love for the nation. I didn't have love for my country, Uganda. But then, after becoming a patriot, I love Uganda. I love others and myself.
Be patriotic, Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co Uganda, Office of the President.
After that very important segment, what we have as the next item on the agenda is having remarks, and we are going to start with remarks from the Senior Most Secretary General, and that is General Ivan Koreta. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Generals, combatants of UPDF here, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Going back in history, about 45 years ago, this general was recruited by Front for National Salvation. It was a political military organization then led by Mr. Yoweri Museveni, who is now the President of Uganda and Commander-in-Chief of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. We got tutored in the arts and sciences of warfare. Grounded in this knowledge, we were privileged to participate in the numerous wars to free our country and her people. Thank you, Your Excellency, for being our teacher, for being our mentor, and for being our counselor. Excellency, we want to thank you for your patience with us over all these years. We want to thank you for the confidence you put in us to serve our country in various roles and capacities. To the gallant comrades, officers, and other ranks of formerly FRONASA, National Resistance Army, and now Uganda People's Defense Forces, we thank you for the opportunity you granted us have served together with you all these years. Memorable times are many, but too many. We will miss you, but we will remain available when you need us. We thank our leaders, both civilian and military, for the very able support and counsel in peace and wartime over all these years. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we pledge to remain ready and available to serve our country in whatever role or capacity when called upon. We wish you, Your Excellency, good health and success in steering the matters of our country, Uganda. We wish you, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, more successes now and in the future. May God bless Uganda and bless us all. Thank you for listening to me.
For those brief remarks, it's now my humble pleasure to invite the Chief of Defense Forces to move forward and give his remarks. Thank you.
For those retiring in 1st Division, it is Kakiri. In 3rd Division, it is Moroto. In 4th Division, it is Gulu. And in 5th Division, it is in Acholi P. Artillery, then we have these specialized formations, artillery, armored brigade, motorized infantry, all retiring these officers from the headquarters of their different various formations. We could not carry all of them here, of course, given the implications, but also the environment of the pandemic. Payment of their gratuity and resettlement is ongoing, and we will be using their bank accounts to have this money deposited on those accounts. I think by the time we leave here, some of them we must be, when they check of their messages where they left their phones, some of this money will be coming on for retirement as a package. And then at the end of this month, those who will have been paid will be appear on the pension payroll. Because since 2015, we have not retired people whom we have not paid. We have been paying them their gratuity, and immediately they are captured on the pensions payroll. And so that's why we have continued to reduce on the backlog, which we inherited from retiring officers and men without fully paying them their dues. And I think, sir, we brought one of those problems to you. I think it is being solved. So it's therefore my prayer that these monies being paid to you, comrades, as a resettlement package as your gratuity package, that you use it for good use by investing it in line with His Excellency's clarion call for all of us to improve our household incomes. Go and continue to be our ambassadors and demystify the unfounded retirement fears of the unknown, and don't sleep below acceptable levels of the welfare, because this would make others fear to retire. But I have every confidence that you will be our ambassador there, so that as we feel comfortable joining you. Mambo hii ya kusema mimi nitakufa kwa jeshi ilikuwa imeanza kuisha, kwa sababu we retire honorably and your dues are paid. Once again, Your Excellency, I want to thank you, and may I now at this juncture invite the Honorable Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs to come and make his remarks.
I'm greatly honored, Your Excellency, to be among those here today and to say a word to the distinguished retiring officers and the notable generals of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. Your Excellency, I take this opportunity to first and foremost to thank you, Your Excellency, for according me this opportunity and also appointing me to work under you in the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs. And on behalf of the other ministers, we sincerely thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, we want to thank you, our President and the Commander-in-Chief of UPDF, for your great leadership in building, developing and nurturing the UPDF from the ragtag force to what it is today. Allow me also, Your Excellency, to thank the UPDF leadership, which has, under your wise guidance and foresight, maintained good command and control that has resulted into the force's high level of discipline and the performance that we are all proud of today. To the retiring generals, senior officers, and other distinguished officers, I congratulate you for the successful military service spanning over the years and for retiring honorably. Dear generals and distinguished officers, you leave behind a tremendous legacy and those accomplishments that you have been able to achieve under the UPDF, but also with the cadres of astute character. You have successfully led and mentored others and fostered many relationships that will stay with you long after you begin the new chapter of your lives. I know that you are retiring with goals that are not yet accomplished. Given the complexity of the world in which we live, the work will never be finished. But you are passing on the mantle, knowing that you have made positive changes directly impacting on the readiness and operational effectiveness of the mighty UPDF. For sure, dear generals, go with your heads high up, well knowing that those who wish Uganda well and those who you have left behind will remain indebted to your selfless great work of making Uganda a better place to live in for the current and the future generations. Thank you very much. On my own behalf, and on behalf of the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, I wish to thank you for the job well done. Your Excellency, the President, allow me to highlight that these gallant UPDF generals, senior officers and distinguished officers retiring today have not only diligently served Uganda in combat responsibilities, but have also exhibited excellence in many other responsibilities. Your Excellency, some of them have been mentioned by my brother Ikumba. But let me say that many of them have been senior public administrators, they have been presidential advisors, they have worked in foreign diplomacy, they have been in social and economic transformation efforts, especially the Operation Wealth Creation and others. And this is therefore a clear manifestation of the professionalism theme you, Your Excellency, have inculcated in our UPDF. So as I conclude my remarks, Your Excellency, allow me to thank also the spouses and the families of the retiring generals, senior officers, and the distinguished officers for their great work and support, which has enabled our generals and the senior officers to excel in their different responsibilities. Thank you. There is no doubt, Your Excellency, that the successes of these generals, senior officers, and distinguished officers must have, in one way or another, been supported by their spouses and families. So we sincerely thank the spouses, and please continue to support them even in their new life in retirement. Your Excellency, allow me to once again thank the UPDF leadership, also to thank the retiring generals, the retiring senior officers, the distinguished officers who have been part in shaping and forming the UPDF and the Uganda success story. Ugandans are enjoying economic transformation. We see thousands of industries, hundreds of tarmac roads, and many other things. Improved infrastructure, freedom of speech, freedom of association, democracy. The CDF has mentioned this also. So all of this has been achieved with your added efforts. So we thank you again, and thank you and wish you all the best in your new endeavors. At this juncture, Your Excellency, permit me to use this singular honor, Your Excellency, to invite you to address this gathering and also send off these gallant generals, senior officers, and distinguished officers for God and my country. Thank you very much.
I'm very happy to be here to again witness the success of a miracle. I wrote a book entitled The Mustard Seed. Oba mu Luganda bakiyita ki? akashuma ka kardinali bakogera batya mu Luganda empeke ya kardinali that one, a very small seed which was planted but produced a big tree. When you see, this is just a sample. You see these people who are here. If you go into their individual story, it's really a miracle how we were able to get so many people of different levels to be part of the resistance movement. I will not talk about everybody because there are many, but I could talk about everyone. Everybody has got a story to tell. These people who are here, all those 600 people we are talking about, each one has got a different story. If I start with Ivan, for instance, just to select a few, Ivan Koreta was one of the 28 boys whom I trained at Montepuez, Mozambique, where there's a war now. There's a war going on there. But Samora Machel gave us a facility to train, and our internal network here comprised of Amama Mbabazi, Otafire. There was also another lawyer called Dennis Echo from Kaberamaido, and myself directly. Some of them I recruited them directly. We were able to recruit 28 of these people, and we took them to Montepuez. I went there myself to be there because we had tried before and we had had some mishaps. We had lost 2 groups, 3 actually, who had been not properly trained, and therefore they couldn't be the seed, because we wanted the seed to grow. We had like 3 groups before. So this time I decided to go myself and be there while the Mozambicans were training them. So, like Ivan, he was among, by the time the war started, on the 30th of, was it October, 1978, Ivan had been infiltrated back into Uganda. The idea was to train them and embark, and they work from inside. So Ivan had already been infiltrated by the time the war started. And one other boy called Sabena. I don't know where Sabena, what happened to Sabena. But when the war started, the ones I was still within Dar es Salaam, because this time they had come from Montepuez, Mozambique, to Dar es Salaam, Chinondoni. I went with them to the front, to Karagwe. And we arrived there on the 23rd of December, 1978. And then they started multiplying. We recruited some Bachiga boys who had gone to work as porters in Tanzania. This is the people's struggle. See, this is the struggle of the people against an army which was in the barracks, supported by foreigners, supported by. So, with that group, I recruited about 200 Bachiga boys who are doing Chibarua in Karagwe. in Tanzania. And it was with those that we crossed into Uganda on the 11th of February, 1979. Now, when we entered Uganda at Ngarama and Chezimbire and Chamate, Kakowa, we expanded the numbers. I think that's where people like Owoi Sigiri would have joined. That time. So by the time Kampala was captured in April, 11th April, we had a force of 9,000. So you can see. How to make something small grow big. Abaganda bakiyita batya? Okuzaazamu? Okuzaalisa? Okuzaazisa? So this is the NRM. Now, so Ivan was the other original seed, because some of the seeds had become bad. We had tried 71, the seed had not grown well. 73, the seed had not grown well. But this group was able to, the small group, 28 people. I was the 29th. So when we come to Kampala, when I was appointed Minister of Defense in that confused government. So when I was in my home in Kololo, the home which had no water, the minister had no pipe to water. We were using Jebidomora to go up to... A young man called Chigongo comes. Said there is a lot of insecurity in Kampala. I want you to train me to use guns. That's how he's the one who came to Chigongo to find me in Kololo. So I knew him. I could see this is a young man who is interested in our struggle. So when the war started, the new war now, the one of 81, Hai Chigong and others were active in Kampala. We announced on the radio when we attacked Kawamba that we had formed Popular Resistance Army. That was after the 6th of February. And we were at that time in Chiboga area. We had some issues with some operation there, but eventually we came to Matuga area, near Kampala here, on the way to Bombo. So when I was there, the group from Kampala came, including Chigongo, because I told the Kategayas there is a young man called Chigongo who is very interested. You look for him. So they came to see me in Migade, not Matuga, Migade. It was Migade Hill. So when Chigongo came, he said, "You have announced the formation of the Popular Resistance Army. What do we do ourselves, we who are in the town?" I said, "You form resistance committees, civilian now. This is military. You form the civilian resistance committees to support the resistance army. That's how this whole movement of LOC started, with Chigongo. So he came back. So that's another, you can see the people's struggle. The Ivans, many of them were students, were students. Now Chigongo was already like a businessman in Kampala. So we started fighting on the 6th of February, carried out some operations. But on the 6th of April, we attacked Kachiri. The UPC had put a force of about 2 companies there. So we attacked it. And the attack itself was assisted by a nephew of Kadu there. He had a nephew called Mayanja. I don't know you people, you don't know Mayanja. Naroiso. Mayanja tumumanyi bulungi. Mwogala bana balala bana duli bani naye. Mayanja yakola omulimu. This Mayanja was an askari, I think at Masurita. Askari, this the local government, Musirike, we used to call them Musirike because they had no guns. So you people, shut up. That's how they used to control crowds. The Banyankore would say, you can't tell anybody, you run and cascade ginger. So, Mayanja came, I said, you go and spy for me on Kachiri. Because these people have brought soldiers there. So Mayanja went, because he was an askari at the neighboring sub-county, he went on his bicycle and saw everything and came and told us. I think we sent another army person called Rumumba to confirm. So we attacked Kachiri on the 6th of April, 1981, and we captured a number of guns there. I think we even captured a machine gun, but we also captured a radio set because we had no radio. We had no radio at all. So we captured a radio set, Rocco, this man park. Now, when we came, we, the guerrillas, did not know much about radios. Even when we were fighting against Amin, it is the Tanzanians who had the radios. They were just telling us what to do, but for us we had no military radios. So, but the radio, we brought it, we put it there. Now among us, there were people from the old army, the one of Amin, the Uganda army. They had already joined us. Because for us, we were welcoming everybody. You know, people don't understand that really politics is a philosophy. If you have got a correct philosophy, things will work out themselves. If you have got a wrong mentality, a wrong philosophy, things will go bad whatever you do. If you have got a right philosophy, even if you are not well organized, the philosophy will help you. Because for us, we will welcome everybody. We do not believe in revenge. You did this, we must do, I don't know. So people were coming. We didn't even know them. So when we brought the radio in the camp, there were people who had been in the old army who were signalers in the old army, the one over me now, not even this one over Obote. Because even the one over Obote had not had time to build those specialized groups. Now, The Signoras who already were with us, there was a Mnyoro boy called Bunihize and Ruchamuzi. This Ruchamuzi you saw here. Stand up, Ruchamuzi. Oh, so they said, for us, we know how to operate a radio. Oh, you know how to operate a radio? For us, we're just guerrillas. We just shoot the gun only. So you come. So Bunihize and Richam was there. They set up a signals unit. That's how they started it. So they started the signals of NRA. Now the signals of NRA, of course, for us we were not using the radio. Petro chose a radio. Biembagamba one. Oh. Why do you talk on the radio? Tumayumuntu yomusanga gendo umuntu ku muntu bino bya radio munange nomuraba yinza kubiwuriza. But the UPCs, no discipline at all. So one of the skills of the Ruchamzis and Unhize was to listen to the UPC. Everything, there's nothing they did which we didn't know. Our stupid UPCs, that they are trying to have codes. The house has landed. How can the house land? What was the codes? The house has landed. Of course, we knew that this was a helicopter. How can the house land? So, from that April 1981 up to the capture of Kampala, we were listening to everything the UPC were saying. Like, for instance, when I sent a force to attack Masindi on the 20th of February 1984, led by Saleh, I knew that the attack has succeeded, not from Saleh, because he was not able to send a message, but from the enemy. The enemy are the ones who said, oh, we have been attacked and we have been overrun and the enemy is there. So then I knew that we had succeeded. When we get to the Semuto area, Chikandwa, the government had a Muruka chief there. The government of UPC had a Muruka chief. So, my people, Rutamaguzi, the brother of Kadu, and the boy who came with Kadu here looks exactly like Rutamaguzi. The son of Kadu who was here looks exactly like Rutamaguzi. So Rutamaguzi who was one of our chief contacts, goes and talks to the Muruka chief. Muruka chief, UPC BVMU. So the Muruka chief came and we met and we said, don't say anything to that government, just keep quiet. And the Muruka chief is Kabonge, the old man you saw here. That is the government Muruka chief who joined us. And eventually, the special branch man of the government, Rulika, Salongo Rulika, of Mugogo, who was special branch for the police, joined us. We got in touch with the Southern Chief Kaya, who was in Kanakaseke. They all joined us. So the government had nobody. There were a few UPC people like Nakandi, and that they just ran away. Nakandi, the woman from Mawari. So, Richams now. Kabonge Muruka Chief has joined us. You saw Karori. Karori, the short man. Karori, come and they see how tall you are. Come. Ooh, that one very dangerous. There's no way he cannot go. Because being short and small is an advantage. Yumirao, Bakura Virao. Aha. I remember Karori in Kavarega. Kavarega, this is the area across Mayanja. He was always our not only mobilizer, but our intelligence person, bringing this. He's now 80. He's 80 years old. But it's what Chariao, you know, the Africans, when they are making stories, they don't finish. So they say, it's what Chariao, because they have enough time. When we were still there, as if they had nothing to do. But to what Chariao, we hear that there is a magistrate or government. But and the magistrate has got a husband. So we say, you're going to bring that magistrate. Magistrate, Umulamuzi. You're going to bring the magistrate. So the magistrate comes. Go Gambachi magistrate. If you have a vehicle, you come and join us. And who is the magistrate? Janet Mkwaya. And her husband, Abe Mkwaya. So, you people who are writing citations, you don't write them. You need to come and see me first if we have time, so that I help you. Because Janet Mkwaya was our Chief Justice in the bush. Because we say, oh, go Soma Kweveragiro. Okay, Ramure Misango. You're going to become the magistrate now of the guerrillas. Now, earlier on, I had recruited some Kawaka Yeka. You know, we had our old parties, UPC, DP. UPC was for the Protestants and some Muslims. DP was for the Catholics. Kawaka Yeka was for the Waganda Protestants. Now, when I had just come by some accident, I had recruited some Kawaka Yeka women. Because Kawaka Yeka women, people had not interacted with other political groups. So when they came, you people, we hear you are communists. No, we are not communists. This is what we believe. This is what we believe. And who were these first recruits of ours, the women? But we knew them because the UPC had arrested some of their people. So they came to see me to help them release their people. Because at that time I was the Minister of Defense. That was before the war had started. And who were these? Mrs. Njuba and Mrs. Karureka Godo. Mrs. Karureka Godo. Unfortunately, she died in a car accident. Now, Mrs. Njuba, when she came to the bush, she was the financial controller of the Bayekera. And also the records keeper. The records keeper. And at one time they were attacked, and they were trying to grab my briefcase from her, because she's the one who was keeping those records. But she saved it. Although, as you can see, she walks with. She had some disability when she was young. So, and then Mrs. Yuva was now also a daughter of a bishop. So we have got everybody. Presents. Now, in some of the parts of the country, people believe in traditional religion. Msambwa. Msambwa, they have the Msambwas, they know. So the prince you saw here, Prince Warugembe, is the one who was handling you that side. Then now you come to, now Richams today brought me now another comrade. Because of the bankruptcy of UPC, they were recruiting for us. They came to attack Masurita, and the schoolgirls of Masurita, the whole school ran to join us. So those girls joined us. They became part of our force from Masurita. Now this is just a sample here. The ones who came here. Each one a big story, but linked with the people. Now there was this officer Majezi. Where's Majezi? Come in front here. That Majezi apparently was a tank man. I hadn't met him, maybe I met him long ago. He was a tank man, one of the few tanks which Obote had, which we destroyed at Matuga.
Your Excellency, tulikuwa watu 9, watu 7 wakafariki, tulikuwa na watu 2 sana.
So this is one of the survivors, one of the 2. So when he survived, instead of going back to the barracks of the UPC, he hid somewhere until he got away to join us. He joined us. So you hear that one, you hear his story. Now, when we attacked Chiboga police station on the 7th of February, following Kabamba, from there went to the hospital of Chiboga. There was a laboratory person. He's one of the people who was here.
Your Excellency, by that time I was working as a senior theatre assistant in Chiboga Hospital.
Senior
operating theatre assistant.
Okay.
In Chiboga Hospital. We received you at one of the hospital quarters of Dr. Serunjoji.
And they gave me where to shower because I had not showered.
He had never showered for 7 days. So we boiled some water for him.
No, that's exaggeration. 2 days.
That's what you had told us.
Okay.
Thank you, Afande.
Amanya.
Kitaka mayanje na sana muzukuru wa Mukajanga.
Oh, Mukajanga yatemula abakristayo bafe.
Of course.
So now you can see. This is just a sample. I didn't select them. But you can see what we mean by a people's struggle. The freedom fighters, they don't look down upon anybody. We know that everybody is useful. That's how we built this force. So the army of Mbadi You need to learn this culture. Yes, you are a soldier, but the army will not be strong if you don't have the support of the people. So that's why you take, don't okubogorera abantu to back at the people. That should never happen. All these people, they were coming because try to basikiriza who were attracting them. So that's my first point. The second one is just fun. Some of the people I didn't know their names, like a man whom I saw here called Wadimba. Wadimba. That man is come to the microphone. Put on your hat, don't forget your hat. This is a big political cadre in the army. He has been misinforming us that he's Diva. Kumbe is Wadimba. Wadimba?
Yes, sir.
Wadimba yedirachi?
Wadimba yedirachi mas afandi.
Okay. Why did you misinform us that you are Diva?
Sir, afande chiri emirundi ebiri. Ekintu ekisooka nina erinnya eriwanvu kikwambaza Diva. Naye kikwambaza eddiba ne kompyuta teyinza dikkiriza kuyingiramu. Naye ekikulu Wadimba mu bushi wo byafunzibwa ne lifuuka ddiba kati nemmanyika nga ddiba.
Okay. Right, sir. Kati nawe kati ddiba tumutegere nti ye Wadimba. There are people like Mzee Sempebwa was a big mobilizer in the Ramata area. Janku Mzinda, ochali Ramata, tobera wa. Janku Mzinda ro.
Yendi afande.
Tobera wa.
Ramata gonyemu.
Oh, okay, wabale.
Ramata kawanda weli yeyo.
Nkare. Kale wabale mzee. So, you can see what we meant by people's struggle. People's struggle means that the leaders, the mobilizers, the cadres must be like, as Mao Zedong said, must be like fish in water. All these people are supporting us because try to buy Sabulungi. We were treating them well. And although we had nothing to give them,